My dear brothers and sisters in Islam, the khutbah today is about a hadith that all of us have studied. But it is a hadith that is so central, it is so important to our religion, that our scholars have unanimously agreed. They have all agreed that this hadith is perhaps the most important hadith in all of Islam. And it is the famous hadith known as the Hadith of Jibril. It is the famous hadith known as the Hadith of Jibril. And this hadith is a marvelous, spectacular hadith that summarizes everything you need to know about your religion. What is the hadith? All of you have studied it in Sunday school. Your parents have told you about this hadith. The hadith goes as follows, that one day the Prophet ﷺ was sitting amongst all of his companions. And a strange man came into the masjid. Now Medina was a small city, everybody knew everybody else. And so they would have usually recognized somebody. But this was a man they had never seen before. And this man was a very handsome man. And he was wearing the most perfect clothes. Not one crease was on his garments. And the garments were shining white, completely, without one speck on it. And his appearance was absolutely handsome. He had a full beard. Not everything, that, as one of the companions said, everything about him was just glowing perfect. His beard was full and black. And his thobe or his garment was shining white. And you couldn't see one speck on him. And we were amazed, because who is this man? How is he dressed so smartly? How is he coming in the middle of nowhere and he doesn't have one speck on him? And so he entered in and he walked directly to the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. And he sat down in front of him. And he put his hands on the knees of the Prophet ﷺ and he leant forward. So he's leaning forward and he says, and he asks him, "O Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, tell me, what is Islam?" And so the Prophet ﷺ said, Islam is the 5 pillars that all of you know. And that is to testify, La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, to establish the salah, to pay the zakah, to fast Ramadan, and to go for Hajj. And so the man said, you have spoken the truth. The Sahaba were shocked, the companions were shocked, that how could anybody dare say to the Prophet ﷺ, you have spoken the truth? I mean, who has that audacity to say to the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, you're speaking the truth? But they didn't know who the man was. And then they said, what is Iman? And so he said, Iman is the 6 pillars that you all know. Iman is to believe in Allah, and to believe in the angels, and to believe in the prophets, and to believe in the books, and to believe in the day of judgment, and to believe in predestination and qadr. Once again, the man said, you have spoken the truth. The third question, what is ihsan? The state of excellence. And the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, this state of excellence is that you are worshipping Allah all the time. As if you're always looking directly at Him. Because even though you don't see Allah, Allah is seeing you. Once again, the man said, you have spoken the truth. And then he said, tell me, when is the day of judgment? And here the Prophet ﷺ said, I don't know any more than you do. You don't know and I don't know. We both don't know when is the day of judgment. So the man said, okay, tell me, what are the signs that the day of judgment is close? So the Prophet ﷺ said, the signs of the day of judgment are many. Of them is that, he gave many signs. For this khutbah will say that shepherds who don't have any money, who don't even have sandals to wear, you will find them competing with one another to build taller and taller buildings. And so once again the man said, you have spoken the truth. And then he left. The Prophet ﷺ said to the companions, go outside, bring him back. And they rushed outside, but he had disappeared into the thin air. Couldn't see him at all. And so they came back, they said, we went everywhere, we couldn't find him. So the Prophet ﷺ said, don't you know who that was? Haven't you figured out? They said, no, we don't know. So he said, that was the angel Jibril, who came to teach you your religion. That was the angel Jibril who came to teach you your religion. This hadith is known as the Hadith of Jibril, and it is the very first hadith narrated in the famous book of hadith called Sahih Muslim, which is one of the most authentic books of hadith. And it is also in the first chapter of Sahih al-Bukhari. It is one of the hadith that Imam Ahmad said, the famous scholar Imam Ahmad, he said, the whole religion of Islam revolves around this hadith. The whole religion of Islam revolves around this hadith. So what can we benefit from this hadith? Well, we can benefit a lot, but for the sake of the khutbah, I'll summarize. First and foremost, let us see the very fact that Allah is sending the angel Jibril, and the very fact that all of the companions are seeing this man. It shows us so many things. First and foremost, it shows how much Allah loves us. That when He created us, He didn't just let us be. He didn't just create us and forget about us. He created us and He wanted to tell us how to live. He wanted to tell us a code, a law. And so He continually sends angels and prophets to tell us how to live our lives. Allah is so loving that not only does He take care of our food and water, He also takes care of our code of life. How should we live? What is the code that we should live by? And our religion of Islam is not just a religion of how to pray and how to fast, but it is also how to live and how to eat and how to drink. And so the angel comes, and of the benefits here, we learn that the angels are true. It's not just a figment of the imaginations of the prophets. A'udhu billah, no. All of the Sahaba are seeing this angel, and everything about him is supernatural. He is absolutely perfect. He seems to be almost a miracle in walking. His clothes are perfect, his appearance is perfect, and he disappears into thin air. Clearly, the angels are real. All of the companions saw this angel Jibril. And he comes out and he asks him questions. Now, even before we get there, look at how he's dressed. Perfect, immaculate, clean clothes, beautiful smell coming from him. No iron, no wrinkle, no crease. Our religion is a religion of hygiene, a religion of good manners. We're not supposed to dress shabbily. When Allah sends Jibril, He dresses him up, puts on him good clothes. It's not cool to look dirty. No, it's cool to look clean, neat. That's how Jibril looks when he comes to the Prophet ﷺ. He's dressed smart, immaculate. Not one crease is on his garment. And then look, how does he sit in front of the Prophet ﷺ? He doesn't just sit with his leaning on a back with his feet towards the Prophet ﷺ and says, "Hey, yo Muhammad, tell me about Islam." No, there's manners, there's etiquette, there's adab that you show to your seniors and elders. And even though Jibril is the best of the angels, the Prophet ﷺ is the best of the prophets. And Jibril is showing him respect. How? By sitting properly. Even in how he sits in front of the Prophet ﷺ, he's sitting with respect. He's sitting leaning forward, wanting to gain that knowledge, putting his hands upon the Prophet's knees ﷺ, to show, I want to learn from you. And he asks him beautiful questions, intelligent questions. And this shows us that when you're studying, when you're learning, you need to be prepared mentally. You need to put your mind in, and you need to think, and you need to ask smart questions. Jibril asks the smartest questions. And notice here the whole scenario. Allah sends the best of angels to the best of prophets in the best of the masjids, because the Prophet's masjid is of the top 3 masjids in the world, right? In the best of the masjids, in the best audience. Who's sitting in that audience? Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, Ali, Abdullah bin Mas'ud, Abu Hurairah, all of these big names. So Allah sends the best to the best, in front of the best, at the location of the best. And then He asks the best questions. That's why this hadith is so important. Everything is perfect. Everything is perfect. And Jibril then asks the most intelligent questions to the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, because he wants every Muslim to have this religion summarized in a beautiful half a page. And that's what this hadith is about. And so he asks him 3 questions. What is Islam? What is Iman? And what is Ihsan? These are terms all of you need to memorize and know. Islam is the religion we believe in. We are all Muslims. Iman is the faith that makes us Muslims. We need to have Iman, that's the faith, in order to be Muslim. And Ihsan is our state of mind, our psychological frame of mind, the way that we look at the world. Ihsan is our spiritual viewpoint. And every single one of us has to have Islam and Iman and Ihsan, all 3 at once. You can't be a Muslim without Iman. You can't have Iman without Islam. They're all 3 at the same. So we need to have the 5 pillars of Islam. the 6 pillars of Iman, and the psychological frame of Ihsan. Every Muslim has to have all of these 3 things together. And that's why at the very end, what did the Prophet ﷺ say? That was Jibril who came to teach you your religion. What is your religion? Islam, Iman, Ihsan. He came to teach you your religion. So your religion is Islam, and it is Iman, and it is Ihsan. All 3 together are your religion. And you can't have religion without all of these 3 things in one person. My dear brothers and sisters in Islam, we thank Allah Azza wa Jal for having guided us to this religion, and we ask that Allah perfects our Islam, and He perfects our Iman, and He perfects our Ihsan. Allahumma inni da'in fa'aminu.